Summer Sublimation Projects, day number 2. Today we are going to be creating some air fresheners for your car. So did you know you can customize your own air fresheners, and you can even add whatever scent that you want. So if you want a very summery tropical scent, you can do that. If there's certain flower scents that you like, there are so many different possibilities with these, so let's just jump right on in and get started. To design in Creative Fabrica for our car air fresheners. I really love Creative Fabrica. They have just about anything you could possibly imagine wanting or needing for all of your crafting projects. I get a lot of my SVGs in here that I use with my Cricut for vinyl and things, and then I also use a lot of the PNGs for my sublimation prints, or if I'm making stickers, things like that. So they have so much stuff in here. If you guys are not familiar with Creative Fabrica, I highly recommend, if you do a lot of crafting, that you look into doing their subscription, because then everything you purchase is just included in that subscription. So some of the things can be a little pricey, which is why I went with the subscription instead of just buying each font and each graphic individually. For me, it just makes sense. They are running a special, so they always have different things, and it's really worth checking out. I can leave a link down below if you guys are interested, if you're not familiar with it, going and checking it out. If you would like me to do like a full tutorial on how to use Creative Fabrica, because there are so many other features besides just fonts and graphics, let me know in the comments below and we will do that. I will run through the entire website for you and explain everything. But for now, we are going to come over here into the search bar and just put in beach PNG. And let's see what it comes up with. Because we're doing sublimation, we want PNGs, because that will be more of like a print file and not a cut file. And then as you can see, there are so many different things to pick from. So I have 2 different styles of air fresheners that we are going to be doing today. So I am just going to kind of browse through here until I find something that would be fun. I actually really like this one. I think this would be great on my round air freshener. And these air fresheners, you can sublimate on both sides, which is great. Now, when you're over here, as you can see, it just says download here. That is because I have the subscription, so I don't actually know how much this file would cost just on its own. If you do not have a subscription, it will tell you that up here. And then some of the other things you can look at, it's allowed commercially, and you can get a full POD, which is the print on demand usage allowed. That comes with a subscription. You usually have to add on an extra something for the POD usage, which I do have. But always look through the commercial use guide when purchasing something if you are doing this to resell. Now, I make things just to show you here on this channel, and I gift pretty much everything that I make unless my kids steal them and take off with them the second that they're finished, which happens quite often. But for the most part, we just like to make things to give as gifts, and I don't really worry about the commercial usage. So if this is something that you are thinking about selling, if you have an Etsy shop, or you just sell them wherever, craft fairs, whatever. Make sure you check out that usage allowance part, okay? Now, for the rest of this down here, you can come down and see like what type of file you're going to get. Sometimes with like the SVGs, it comes with different files as well, but this is just a PNG. It'll tell you the pixel size, which you can always change and make smaller in Canva, which is where we will be going to actually pull this all together. And then the DPI, that just means like the print quality. So that's good. Usually you want it at about 300. And then it just gives you ideas of like where you could use this. We are gonna be using this on an air freshener. And then anything else that you would need to know. You can also, if you like these designs that you find here, you can always come over here and follow that designer. Or you can view their profile and see what other things they offer, because a lot of times they'll have like a whole category kind of based around this type of design. So those are just the things to kind of look for when you are in here. Now I'm going to hit this download button. And as you can see, it popped up here. So now I can click on this and see what this looks like. And here it is. So the gray just means that it's a transparent background. So this isn't going to be all white behind it, which is what we want. Let me close out of this and out of all of these other tabs. I don't know why so many popped up, but now we are going to come over here to Canva. This is where I like to do all of my sublimation designs. You can use Cricut design space if you have a Cricut. Like I said, in the first day one sublimation projects, I do not like using Cricut design space for sublimation because you are very limited to the print size that you want. So if you are doing something like we did in day one, where it was like a full print, it would be very difficult to do that in Cricut design space. If you have a silhouette and you work in the silhouette studio, then you have a lot more options there, and you can go ahead and we actually print from there. So we do our designing in Canva, and then I move everything over to the silhouette studio. So let's just start by hitting create. And I am going to come down here on the left-hand side and hit custom size. You can put in any dimension you want. Here, as you see, it's in pixels. You want to switch that to inches first if you're going to have a specific, width and height. I am just going to come down here and click this 8.5 by 11 because I'm just going to use it like it's a regular piece of paper because that's what I use in my printer. And then as we are waiting for this to pop up, I will just say, if you are not familiar with Canva, let me know in the comments if you would like more of a tutorial on how to do things in here, or you can go to my website and I have a beginner's guidebook that kind of walks you through the whole thing. That could be helpful for you as well to get you started. But like I said, let me know in the comments if you want more of a full tutorial on all the different elements and functions of Canva, because I love Canva and I do a lot of stuff in here. So now we have our page. We are going to come to this left-hand side and hit this upload button. Then we're going to come over here to where it says upload files, and we're going to click on that and wait for our download folder to come up. Now I'm going to hit my download folder, and here at the top is the one that we just did. Now I'm on a Mac. I can just click this and drag it over and it will drop it in, or you can click it and hit open, whatever works for you. And this is uploading, and we can just take this and drag it over here. Now, sometimes these boxes can be kind of a problem because I just want this dimension to be a circle. I'm just going to do this and shrink it down to about 3.5. I'm probably going to go a little bit more than that just so I have a little hangover edge here. So that is going to be our circle. And now I am going to go back into Creative Fabrica and find another design that I want to put on the other air freshener. But first I am going to add a page because when I move these over to Silhouette Studio, I want them separate images so I can change the sizing of each one. And I'll explain more of that as we get to that point. So I'm just going to pause this right now, go find another image, and then upload it like I just did with the other one, and then we will move on. Here we have the second design that I thought I would just keep it simple. I kind of like just this palm tree. And then we have this one. Now what we are going to do is first label this so I can find it. Summer Air, we'll just leave it like that. Then we're going to come over here and hit share. Now when we hit download, we're going to keep this as PNGs, and I do want both pages to print. Now one thing that you are going to want is to do this in a transparent background. Now if you do not have Canva Pro, if you're new to Canva and you do not have their subscription, then you will not be able to do this as a transparent background, which then you can go and use like a free website that will have a background remover on it, and then you just download this and then find that option online. There's a bunch of them. You just put in free background remover and then you upload this into there and it will remove the background for you and it will be a transparent background. But you do want that so that you can size this properly in the Silhouette Studio. So just a little, sidebar on that. I like Canva, so I have the Pro version, and this is just super easy for me. So now we are going to go ahead and hit download and wait for these two files to download, and then we are going to open up the Silhouette Studio Basic because that is what I use for my sublimation printing. So let's click this, and as you can see, our day number 1 project is still up here. Whoops, I want to cancel that. No, cancel. I am just going to delete that. Now we are going to come over to the top left and hit this folder file icon, and then we are going to open up this folder and we will put in the first image. Now before you can bring in your second image, so obviously this is very large, I'm just going to make this a bit smaller for right now so that I can bring in the other one, and then we will work on actually sizing them to what we need. Now, in order to get more images on here, before you can just come up here and select another file, you need to come up to the top of your computer where it says File, and then come down to where it says Merge. Okay, then it will open up your download folder again and you can pick the next image. I don't know why it does that. I think it's because it's the basic edition, which is free, because I don't have a Silhouette Studio or a Silhouette machine, so I use the free version. and that's just how I can get that to work. So now we are going to size this one down as well. And you don't have to worry about, okay, why are they connected? Okay, I just want the one. You don't have to worry about all these red lines around it. That is just like, I think where it would cut if it was going to cut, but it's not. It's just going to print. But because I don't like to see the red, I come up to the left here and click this outlined box, and I just click on the white and it changes it. Then I can actually see what I'm trying to do here. So now we are going to size this to what I need. And for this one, I'm just going to use this and drag it to the size that I'm looking for. I know my air freshener is 3 inches wide, so I'm going to do it at about a 2.9, and then the height is fine because the height of the air freshener is 4 inches. So now I am just going to move this down. This is really slow today. Whoops, I don't want that. My office is out in our garage, which is detached and quite a ways away from my house. So the internet is sometimes kind of slow and wonky. Now with this one being a circle, again, I'm going to come over here and just change this red to white. And then I'm going to unlock the measurements, and I'll show you how to do that up here if you want to put in an exact measurement. Whereas the other one, I just kind of clicked and dragged it. Here you unlock it and then you can change this. And I believe I said these were 3.25 inches. So I'm going to do 3.3, just because I want a little bit overhang. And we'll do the same here. And then you need to hit the enter or return key, or it will change all of those back to where they were, and then you can lock it. Now I have my 2 images. Now we are going to duplicate. So up here on the top, as you can see, it's like 2 identical cubes. You just click that. I just need to move one. Again, I apologize for my very slow, glitchy computer. Some days I just don't know if it's actually going to do what I want it to. Okay, I just want a little space between those. And then I'll come up here and again, I'll come hit these cubes and it just duplicates it for me. Okay, there, now I feel a little bit better about my space using it up on my sublimation paper. Now what we're going to do is come over here and hit print. Now if you want tips on printing with sublimation, go back and watch day 1 of the summer sublimation 10-day series, because I really walked through on that one print settings and issues I've had in the past with my sublimation ink. But you can go back and watch all the different little tips and tricks that we talked about in day 1. But for now, I am just going to keep moving through here to get this done. And then we will come back and print. So here are our prints from what we just printed. And as you can see, we are going to be putting the palm tree on this shaped one. and the circles on this one. It looks like my circles maybe could have been a little bit bigger. I might have a little bit of a white outline on the air fresheners itself, but that's okay. Now, if you notice, right now the colors are a little bit dull and faded, and that is okay because once you heat it, it will be bright and look like what you saw on the computer. So now what we're going to do is put the tape and tape these all together, and then we'll heat up my heat press and we will sublimate on our air fresheners. So the way that I'm going to do this is I'm going to take first, we're going to cut this in half because I only want to sublimate one side at a time. And I think, yep, we'll be able to do one at a time here. So I just want to make sure you can see what I'm doing here. I'm going to take this one and just line this up the best that I can. It's a little tricky because you can't really see what you're doing, but if I hold it up, there's a window behind me so I can kind of see what I'm doing here. And yeah, there's going to be some extra space. So, wonder if I should reprint that. Well, I'll do it and we'll see what that looks like. If I need to make it a little bit bigger, I will. I can always do that again. This pack of air fresheners came with a lot of air fresheners. So now I'm going to just tape this down to hold it in place. Not too much though, because I don't want the sticky from the tape pulling up on that air freshener too much, the little fuzzy parts. And like I said, these are double-sided, so you can do both. All right, this one I can actually see pretty good, and this one's going to fit nicely. I'm just trying to make the words straight. Sorry if that's a bad angle for you. I'm trying to use the light behind me to get that where I want it. All right, and then I will attach these down. And everything you see me using, I will always have it linked down in the description box below so that you can find anything that you might see that looks useful for you. This tape dispenser, I must say, is a game changer. Now, the instructions for these air fresheners said to heat them at 380, so 380 degrees, for 50 to 60 seconds. So for this first side, we're just going to start out at 50 seconds. And if it looks like we might need a little extra, then on the back side, we'll just increase the time. Now on my heat press, this is a Better Sub 5-in-1. So I like this one because it rotates all the way around, and it has, you can change this out for a mug press and a hat press, and then I think the other two are plate presses, but I've never used those. But this is super easy to switch out. I'm actually really impressed with how easy that is. But right now we are going to increase this temperature to 380. And then we are going to bring this down to 50 seconds. And we will let this come up to temperature. Sometimes I like to recommend using these infrared thermometers because not all heat presses heat the same. So like the middle of the press might be the hottest, and then the outsides might not be as hot. This one heats differently than the Cricut Easy Press. So I always like to just double check the temperature to make sure it's roughly where I want it. But that is something that comes in handy quite often. Now, if you are new here, welcome, hello. I know we're already pretty far into this video. My name is Sarah, and I just love doing all the crafts. I do anything from vinyl to sublimation to glitter tumblers with non-toxic epoxy. If you're ever interested in seeing anything like that, where you don't use actual epoxy because it's pretty toxic, and I actually had an allergic reaction to it when I first started using it, and I found an alternative which works really well. Let me know in the comments. I would be happy to show you those options. But I just like to do a little bit of everything. So this is a great way for me to bring you new projects, and I just get to try everything. So if there's anything you want me to try, also just let me know that in the comments too, because I always like to try things out and then show you how to do it so we can avoid some of the frustration on your end when trying something new. But welcome if you're new, if you're here again because you've been here before, welcome back. I do appreciate you guys tuning in, and like I said in the beginning of this video, this is going to be a 10-day series where we do different summer sublimation projects every day, and they just are going to get better and better. So if you haven't seen day one, let me just show you a little sample of what we did. I don't want to tip this too much because it is full. We made a sublimated can cooler. So this is one of those skinny drinks, and you should go back and watch day one because that was a fun project. So we are going to just wait for this thing to heat up all the way, and then we will get back to pressing our air fresheners. So as you can see, mine is reading at about 376. It's close enough to 380 for me, so I am going to go ahead and press these air fresheners. I'm going to move some of this to the side. And now we're going to slide this over. Pull this out a little bit. Careful, that's hot. I'm going to slide that over. Now, whenever you're pressing something with sublimation ink or infusible ink, you are always going to want, for the most part, unless the directions say otherwise, the paper on the top, because you want that heat source as close to that ink as possible. So I'm also going to put down some parchment paper to protect the mat, because sometimes there is ink outside the lines. Like if I would have made this circle a little bit bigger on the ink, it would press onto the mat itself. So I'm going to put down some paper. I'm going to put these right here. And then I'm also going to cover that with some Teflon sheets, just a Teflon sheet, just to protect the heat press itself in case the ink bleeds through the paper, which it does sometimes. So I always like to protect my equipment. So now we're going to swing this back over here, and we are going to press this with firm pressure for 50 seconds. Now, whenever you are doing sublimation or using the infusible ink sheets, you want to make sure that you are in a well-ventilated room. So open your windows, open a door, whatever. It is toxic fumes. I mean, let's be honest. You're heating up an ink, which is turning into a gas, and it is infusing itself into the material you're putting it on. So just be on the cautious side and make sure you ventilate your room well while you are using your sublimation and heating it up, because you just want to stay safe, and that's just good practice. So now we are done with the 50 seconds. I'm going to turn this to the side, and I'm just going to let this sit for a second so that we don't get any ghosting. That is when you move it before it's completely into the product you're putting it on. It needs a little bit of time to set. And if you move it too soon, you might get like this little hazy, shadowy effect around your design, which we don't really want. So I'm going to let that sit for a second, and then we will pull this off and see how it looks. Okay, I think this has cooled enough. Oh, see, look at this. You can see that that print came right through that paper, so that is why I have the Teflon there. Now let's peel this off one at a time. Ooh, I like that one. Can you see that? Let me get the rest of that tape off. This one turned out really nice. I think I'll hang this one in my car. We will do the back side yet, the same way we did the front. And then I will show you how you can make these super smelly, just the way you want them. We're customizing everything. So that we will take care of in a minute. This one I can already see that there's a lot of extra space, and I did not have it on there very evenly. So this one I might end up doing over again and make my print size a little bit bigger. I thought I had it big enough. Yep. See how that turned out? I like the colors. As you can see, the colors are like, these are a little bit lighter in the coloring, and these have a lot of dark colors, which I like as well. But I will do this one again, and I will just make it a lot bigger so that it covers the entire circle. Now the nice thing about these air fresheners is it comes in a box of like so many. So I'm okay tossing one if I need to, if it doesn't turn out. I'm sure actually one of my kids will grab this and load it up in their favorite scent and hang it in their room, because that's what they do. They steal all my things. So I never actually throw anything away until I let them find it in my craft room, because they always have a use for everything. So let me go ahead and reprint this one, and then we'll sublimate the rest of the sides, and we will take a look at how to put these all together at the end, because we're not done yet. So here I redid the round coaster. As you can see, this one turned out much better because I had the right dimensions. When I measured this one, for some reason, I looked at it and thought it was 3.25 inches, but it is not. It is 3.5. So I changed that and it looks much better now. I like how you can do both sides of this, so it has the design from no matter where you are looking at it from. And here's the other one. My kids have already come in here, like I said they would, and claimed which one they would like. So now to finish these off, the pack that I bought, I'm just going to show you this here. It is a box that had all of these different coasters, and there's 4 different styles, and then you get a bunch of bags so that if you're gifting them or selling them, it has individual bags. And then you also get this pack of, I kind of pulled it out already, there's really long cords in here, and then tassels. And along with that, you get these little hooks, and I'm going to show you how we're going to put this all together to make a fun little air freshener for in your car. So we are going to start with taking this brown cord, And we're just going to stick one end through here. And you can make it as long or as short as you want. These go in the car typically over, your rear view mirror, but because I know my kids are going to take these, I'm not going to make them quite as long, because they will probably just hang them somewhere in their bedrooms. And then I like to just take the cords and knot it like this. Sorry, my daughter just did my fingernails and they are still a little bit tacky. She is into doing spa days for people. So she actually cut my hair and did my nails today. She's 12, so I have an actual hair appointment on Monday. So I just let her play along, but my nails are very sticky. We're gonna trim this off and then we have a way to hang it. Okay, you can tie these off however you feel like you want. That's just the easiest way I have found. Now to get these little screws, you can see that, into the bottom here, that's where we're going to hang that tassel from. I'm first going to take my weeding pin pen and I am going to make a hole and just kind of make an opening as to where I'm going to kind of stick that. Next, I'm going to take my jewelry pliers and hold that in there. And sometimes I have to remake this hole a little bit. It's kind of a trick to get this in here, but it can be done. I'm just going to keep kind of wiggling this in and screwing it, kind of holding on to it all at the same time. You just kind of have to go slow, and then that is in there. Okay? Now I picked this orange tassel, and there is an opening here, so if you have your jewelry pliers or any pliers, you can pull that, slide that in there, and then just close it back up again. And you can pick whatever color you want for a tassel. I just am picking this orange color for this one. And there you have your first air freshener. Okay, I'm going to finish off this one and then we will add the good smelly stuff to it. And there's the second one. Now obviously you can leave it without the tassel, like I've made these for my nephews in their cars and I didn't add the tassels. And now that I look at it, it is so not centered, but I can always unscrew that and move it over a tad. But let's go ahead and add our good smelly stuff. So now there's different ways of things that you can add to these to make them smell really good. One is taking your favorite essential oils. I get all my essential oils from Simply Earth. It's made locally, and I know the family, they source everything in the best ways possible, and I just love all of their different products. Now, lemon is always just a good clean smell, and I really like that one, but obviously if you're doing like summer themed or a fall themed, you can change out what smells you put on your air fresheners. So for this one, I think I'm just going to add a little bit of lemon. So I'm just going to take the essential oil and just put a few drops right on the air freshener. You can make this as strong or as light as you like. And I like that you can always go back and add more after this has kind of run its course. You can always add more scent to it. So this one's for my youngest daughter. She does not like very strong smelly stuff. That'll dry clear on there. And it already smells super lemony. Okay, so there's one. We're gonna let that dry. And let me recap this. And then my 12-year-old, she loves, where does she get this from? Bath and Body Works. I am not a big fan of all of their smelly things, but this is a Costa Rica pink pineapple smell that she really likes. So I'm going to just take this and spray a few, let me move that out of the way, spray a few sprays on the front and back. And again, let that dry and that will soak all of that in. And then you have a summery scented air freshener. So you can take any perfume or cologne or essential oils or whatever you have, a body mist, whatever, and you can just spray it with the scent that you want. And now I have a very smelly craft room and two very fun customized air fresheners. And these are great as gifts if you are looking for something new to sell for your summer line. This is a fun, quick project that you can do. If you don't have a heat press, obviously you can use like your Cricut press or whatever heat source you have for your sublimation. Now, if you liked day 2's project, then head on over to watch day 3. Or you can go back and watch day 1 if you have not seen that one yet. If you are still here to the very end, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit the like, and also hit that notification bell so that you know when the next day comes out, which will be tomorrow. And you will be notified when it is out.